to get me in position.
I thought I got you, but you found another way to get in. Through all my inner thoughts, I'm thinking that I'm speeding in. On every countertop, I'm yelling, please don't stop. And you know where it's going.
Somebody told me this was it. That you was on some different I would have made a decision that was better than this.
Yeah, what's good? Good morning, y'all. Welcome to R&B Talk. Steve Gooseby in the building. Rich Sports here. What's up, Rich?
Good morning, Steve. Always a pleasure, man.
Man, I hate to cut that song. That's that new Kehlani with Usher. Yeah, man, we got a lot to talk about this morning. Boston Celtic fans, if you was looking for Giannis to join the team, it ain't happening. Jaylen Brown still on the team as he's been a part of the trade rumor for a minute. Rich, you got any updates on that, man? Well, what happened, man?
Well,
why didn't we land him?
I guess Pat Riley, Miami Heat, Pat Riley swooped in and made them some offers. They traded 3 of their starting players and a bunch of draft picks to the Milwaukee Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Some people feel that it wasn't a good deal for the Milwaukee Bucks, but Pat Riley swung again, just like he got LeBron James and other players in the past. Pat Riley, to keep a star player away from the Boston Celtics, Pat Riley was working overtime.
Oh, man, he was working overtime, man. He hates the Celtics.
That hate runs deep, man.
He hate the color green, everything about the Celtics.
Man, that hate runs deep.
Oh, my
goodness. My thing is, Brad Stevens got some work to do as far as bringing Jaylen Brown back to believing in that he's going to be a Celtic, because you had his name floating out there in the trade rumors for the last couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
How do you wheel him back in right now? And for me, I don't think there's nothing wrong with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum staying here together for the next 5, 6, 7 years. All you have to do is add to this team. The Knicks won the championship. I congratulate the New York Knicks fans out there. But my take on it, San Antonio gave them a couple of those games.
And so did we, man. If you go back and look at it, the way we lost to Philly, come on. And then New York makes Philly look like they didn't even belong there.
Yeah, they made them look like a JV team.
Right.
And, and last season, Celtics blew a couple of 20-point leads in the fourth quarter to the Knicks in the playoff.
Right.
We are not that far off from getting back to the NBA Finals. Is the Knicks better than us? They're the world champs right now. Of course, they're the better team. They're the world champs. You got to give them credit. But are they that much better? Will we have to trade Jaylen Brown and bring Giannis in? I didn't think so. I think all we need to do is tinker with our lineup a little bit. That's my take on it.
Adding them without trading Jaylen, I was more for that than anything. But yeah, we got some work to do. I think we do need a third scorer on that team. But also, if you go back and look at the playoffs and look at what they did during the season prior to when Tatum came back, I think the issue was that he just changed the rotation. A lot of those players just didn't play. They sat on the bench.
Exactly. You had a bench that played well all season, got you to 56 wins with just one of your star players. Jason Tatum comes back. There's no way you should have lost to Philly in the playoffs. It would have been very interesting to see the Celtics in the next round against the Knicks. That would have really been good to see. But you know what? It's time for Brad Stevens to get to work. These new owners who are all about not spending money, but in the NBA to win, you have to spend money. You can't worry about the salary cap.
Right.
You're not going to win. Even the Knicks right now, they're in a tough situation because they just won. Kyle Anthony Towns is up for an extension this summer.
Mm-hmm.
He's up for a 4-year, $274 million extension.
And if I'm the Knicks, I'd give it to him.
You know what? But the owner already came out, Steve. You probably didn't hear it. The owner says
he's not doing it.
We can't be crazy with our spending. These owners don't want to spend the luxury tax. Once they win a championship, Steve, it's very hard to keep your team together.
Right.
I don't think no one wants to pay Kyle Anthony Towns $70 million a year, Steve. Mm-hmm. So I think what the Knicks are going to do, they're already hoping that maybe Kyle Anthony Towns will take like a hometown discount. Eric Brunson, Jalen Brunson left $113 million on the table.
Right, he did.
He took a pay cut so he could bring in his Villanova teammates. I mean, you think the owner's going to come and now pay Jalen Brown that $113 million since he delivered the championship?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So
now, again, the Knicks, they deserve to win. I give them that. They were the better team, of course, in the end. I don't think they were the better team overall, but they won a championship, so you got to give them. You got to
give it to them.
You got to give them credit.
Just
for that.
like the New York Giants twice against the Patriots, they were the Super Bowl champs. We had a better roster,
better team, better everything. But for they one just game, knew how to beat us.
One game, they won the 2 Super Bowls, so they were the better team in that game.
Right. All right, let's switch it up a little bit, and we'll come back to Celtics because we got the NBA draft and all of that, and something still could happen. Who knows? So we'll pay attention to that. But I want to talk about Karen Reed and Myles King. If you haven't followed the Karen Reed thing, well, I'll just break it down real quick. So Karen Reed trial, the first trial, it was a mistrial. And actually, little Tweety Bird, and the rumor's actually out there that the jury back then found Karen Reed not guilty, but somehow, I can't remember the judge's name, she ruled it as a mistrial. So the second time around, she was, was ruled not guilty, and that would have actually, the jury who deliberated the not guilty, it would have happened a lot quicker, except there was one juror, I'm told, who wanted her to be found not guilty on the DUI.
Exactly, yes.
And so that held it up. And they just pleaded to him, listen, we'll take the DUI. But she personally, I think she was guilty all the way around as well. And I thought they would appeal that DUI, which they didn't. But she's not on probation no longer or anymore. But the fallout from the Karen Reed trial, let me just go over some of that real quick. So Michael Proctor, who was the lead investigator, everybody knows he was fired, disciplined. The text messages came out with all the racial slurs and all of that about black folks, and how he talked about how he would plant evidence.
Exactly.
On certain black folks, of course.
And let them die at an accident scene. Don't worry about it. Don't rush to get there. Let them die.
So this is your lead investigator for the Karen Reed trial. So he was fired. Also, Yuri Buchanan, he was disciplined, rehomed, and he's on desk duty now. But rumor has it he may end up being fired soon, or he may retire. He was involved in those text messages as well. Brian Tully, he was the unit commander, the immediate supervisor of Michael Proctor. So 2 and 2 together, you're the supervisor. Yeah. If you work for me for 20 years, Rich, I'm gonna know any and everything about what you're doing. So you can't tell me he didn't know about the text messages, and more than likely was probably involved. But he has since retired. Helena Rafferty, she was the Canton Police Chief. She's retired. Kevin Albert, he was disciplined, still on the department as far as I know. Kenneth Berkowitz, he was the Canton Police Chief at the time. He retired, but he's deceased now. I don't know what happened. He passed away. Michael Link also retired. Sean Good recently retired. He was on the other end of those text messages. Brian Higgins was on desk duty, has also retired. Brian Albert has also retired. And the dog, you remember the dog?
Did the dog retire too?
Listen.
Well, the dog just disappeared.
So the dog was actually rehomed, and the dog is nowhere to be found. Personally, I think the dog is dead. I think they got rid of it. Of course. They killed the dog.
Of course.
And so the dog is important because John O'Keefe had all these scratches, which they said were bite marks from an animal.
They brought in a forensic expert that said those was consistent with an animal, a dog bite on his arm. Right.
So if you want to know what this case has in common with the Myles King case, Proctor, he was also the lead investigator on the Myles King case. Now with the Myles King case, he was arrested for murder of Marquis Simmons. This is back in July of 2021. Now, I don't know whether he did it or not. But the bigger problem is the prosecutor, who was Proctor, the same guy who talked about in the text messages about planting cocaine on the N-words. And in fact, they're talking about 19 different cases that he's been involved in where people may just walk scot-free, whether they're guilty or not. You know, and it's a sad story. It's a sad story and unbelievable at the same time, you know?
Well, that's what happens when you have someone in law enforcement with this type of mentality. What he does is these lawyers, of course, they're going to take advantage of this situation because you're out there basically compromising investigations, you know,
Right.
and you're not showing that you should be handling these type of cases. And if you're being represented by a really good lawyer, of course your lawyer is going to use that to their advantage.
Right.
You know, and it's kind of sad, like you said, even in some of these cases where someone might just be guilty and you know,
you're going to have to let him go because of the guy who was the lead investigator.
That's right.
You know, now here's the crazy thing about the Myles King arrest, right? So he's been in jail ever since.
Yeah.
They've asked for discovery, no discovery. It's 2026 now. They've given them no discovery, which is basically evidence. They haven't presented the arrest warrants. This all happened in 2021. It's 2026 now. So
he's basically locked up with no bail right now.
Right.
Okay.
And apparently no evidence.
Yeah.
Now, again, I don't know. I mean, it's sad for both sides. You may have an innocent guy who's locked up.
Yeah.
And you also may have, but also on the other side, you got a family who's suffering, who's grieving and suffering for the loss. So I don't know whether he did it or not. I don't know. But again, the problem is Michael Proctor, the lead investigator. You know, the guy's a pure racist. It's in the text messages. He's a pure racist who preyed on people of color and other ethnic groups who he just don't like because of the color of their skin.
That's right.
It's all in the audio. It's in audio messages. It's in text messages.
And
this guy was the lead detective for the Karen Reed case in cases in his district.
Yeah, and even like the anti-Semitic remarks he made, you know, about Jewish people. So that's what you said. This guy was on the force, and he's making these comments to fellow co-workers. So for me, they're complicit in his actions.
Right. Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's kind of sad when you think about that. You can't trust law enforcement to do their job in the proper way, you know?
And let's be honest, we know there are some great police officers out there. We're not saying all police officers are bad, but it's also not, it's not like we didn't know this already.
Exactly.
You know, you've been in situations where you was been arrested before. I've been in situations where I've been arrested before.
Yeah.
And you know, I'll never forget. This was maybe 10 years ago, or maybe less than that. You know, my son was he was in the Nike camp, right? Basketball camp. Went to go pick him up. On my way to pick him up in Quincy, state trooper comes out of nowhere, right, with his lights on. I get pulled over, and he says to me, license and registration. Why did you blow your horn at me? I'm like, huh? I didn't blow my horn on you. License and registration. I give him the license and registration. He goes to his car. Then he comes back. He says, I don't have time for this ish. And he throws the license and registration in the car. I'm picking it. So he walked back to his car. I'm picking it up off the floor in the car. Then he comes back. I do have time for this ish. License and registration. I give it back to him. He gives me a ticket for $210, man.
For blowing your horn.
Which never happened. It never happened.
Exactly, yeah.
Never happened.
I never know blowing your horn was actually
a crime.
A crime,
yes. But it's the craziest involvement I've ever had with a police officer.
Yeah.
Before. I was pulled over out of the blue. Why did you blow your horn at me? You know, it was crazy.
Yeah. No, you're right, Steve. I mean, I've been pulled over in my MBTA uniform when I was working for the T, by state police, and they said my car fit the description of an armed robbery. And I told them I just left work 10 minutes ago. You can call my supervisors on the Green Line. And they didn't want to do that. And they were rude, of course. But I'm in an MBTA uniform, and my car fits the description of an armed robbery. I mean, you know, and you're sitting there for like 20 minutes or half an hour. They're running your place, running your information, and you have to really wonder about this situation. And then the rudeness that comes with it, you have to question it. So these are situations, like you said, when you're in a situation like this, and you know you haven't done nothing wrong, and you have an officer that is being rude to you, now you're questioning the whole integrity of law enforcement.
Right. And again, it's nothing new to us because we've been treated like that as people for centuries.
Well, we kind of expect it. I mean, special, Steve, we grew up in the 80s. So, I mean, like you, me, both, a lot of our listeners, we've been pulled over many times back in the 80s when we didn't even know our rights. You know, they search your car, they go through your car, they throw all your stuff out of your glove compartment, and they leave all your stuff on the floor. Then they drive away and say, go about your business, you know?
I remember, and this was a long time ago as well. Remember when they had the arcade in Park Square, right? Where the Park Plaza is?
Yes.
So my brother was working at the Park Plaza at the time. So I went to go grab him. And while I waited for him to come out, you know, I was double parked, but I went inside the arcade real quick, played me a couple of games, lost my money, got back in the car. Man, the police surround me, and they checked the car for, you know, I guess they were selling drugs out of the arcade or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I went in, lost the game real quick, and came out real quick.
Yeah.
As if I bought something, I guess that's why I got pulled over or why they stopped me at the time. But again, listen, it is what it is. As Black folks, we're kind of used to that. We get pulled over. We don't know how do you change that? How do you change that? Whereas as people and as, you know, police officers out there who are on the force, how do you change the feeling of people when they get pulled over? It's more than, oh, here we go. Here we go. What did I do? You know what I mean?
Well, one of the things, that's a society problem, the racial profiling that goes on in our society.
Right.
Because you know, Steve, if you're driving through suburban America, 4 young white kids in a car driving at night, oh, they're just a bunch of teenagers out having a good time.
Yeah, what are you doing?
4 young black men driving in a car.
Be careful.
Yeah, 4 young black men driving in a car. What are they up to?
Yeah,
that's the perception that you get, and unfortunately, what's his name? Van Jones, that worked for the Obama administration, came on and once made a statement, which I already knew. He said when he went to college, he said there were more white kids on college campuses doing drugs than the black kids.
Yeah,
most of the black kids was there trying to get an education on scholarships, financial aid. They're trying to get that education because they're paying for it. He said the wealthy college kids are doing more drugs on college campuses than anybody in America.
And that's true. And even in the private schools.
In the private schools also.
These private schools, that's one of their biggest problems with a lot of these schools, the drugs with some of the students.
That's right.
The biggest issues.
That's right.
And, you know, of course, you know, here in Boston, the Boston school system, a whole different range of problems. But again, man, it's sad that everything is black and white.
Yeah, it's still that, even in 2026. Yeah. And you know, we like to forget about it for a while. We usually say, okay, nothing's happened in a while. We put it on the back burner. And then all of a sudden it rears this ugly head again. Mm-hmm. You know, and a guy like Proctor, you know, you see what he was doing, and now it's kind of sad because now it makes you paranoid of all law enforcement. Every time you get pulled over, you know, and you know, police officers, they do random pullovers. They don't tell you that, Steve, but they do random pullovers, man.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt.
They just pick out a car, you know, and do a random pullover.
Yep.
You know, someone always
looking for something to do.
Yeah. Someone always told me, they like to pull over fast red cars. So Steve, whenever
I've heard that.
when you buy a new vehicle, man, don't get nothing
Oh,
fast and red.
I don't even like red like that. Definitely, I'll
Yeah.
never have it. You'll never see me in a red car.
Yeah.
You know, even if someone gives me a red car, I'll probably trade it in for something
Yeah.
else. You know, it's a sad story, man, that in 2026, when it comes to just the average person and the police, the perception isn't a good one. And we all, good police officers. I know good police officers. We all do. There's a lot of great police officers out there, but there's also, I think they might be outnumbered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, let me say this as well, because, and I'm not giving any excuse to any bad police officer at all, but just think about this, right? You're on the police force, especially if you work in Boston. And if you work in Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan, stuff goes on every night, every day. And you work 40 hours. I don't even know how the hours go, but let's just say you work 40 hours a week, 8 hours a day, or whatever, overtime, and you're chasing people. You're, domestic disputes, all kinds of stuff they got to respond to on a day-to-day basis.
You're getting cursed out a lot.
You're getting cursed out a lot.
Yeah.
The vibes are always bad because of, where you're doing your job, and, don't let it be in an area that, crime it happens all the time. It's no excuse, but it's stressful. So how do you train up? And I'm sure, I'm not a police officer. I don't know. I've never been to the academy or anything like that. But in the hours that they work, how do they manage the stress levels? Because, I mean, is it the amount of calls they take where they have to deal with domestic disputes, shooting, stab, whatever it is? I don't know. But imagine doing that every day, every week, throughout your career. It has to change you. It has to change your mentality.
Well, that's why a lot of the police departments across the country now have mental health, departments and stuff for the officers. And let's be honest, over the last few years, since the George Floyd incident, that's made people even more angry at police officers. We got social media, we got phones and cameras. I mean, let's be honest, Steve. People are filming everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen, you can go on social media, you see interaction between the law enforcement and the public now.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the law enforcement, man, those guys, they're human beings.
Right.
They snap at people and they go off like on people sometime, and it's unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
They escalate situations a lot too,
Right.
I always tell people, you get pulled over, don't escalate a situation. Just do what you're supposed to do, license, registration. But sometimes they escalate a situation too.
Right.
And I always see officers that are doing their job. They don't escalate a situation. They don't give the situation no fuel, even when the person's upset. And those are the best officers. But sometimes the officer interaction and the individual, it just both parties escalate really quick.
Right. And just think about, you have road rage, right? And we all drive. I'm sure you've been in your car plenty of times. What is this a-hole doing? What are you doing? And then you're yelling at one another. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
You're on the road driving, and just that short amount of time,
yes,
your levels have changed. Your level of stress has gone up. So I don't know. It's a problem. The police and civilians have been a problem over the years. Not overall, but just in a lot of cases. There are a lot of bad police officers out there. I don't think Michael Proctor is an isolated problem or individual. He's at the top.
Most definitely.
He's at the top. One of the lead investigators, the people he lead, it's in the text messages. So, hey man, it's definitely an issue. If you thought Karen Reed killed John O'Keefe, I would think that person is either related to the family or they're in law enforcement, because I know law enforcement support one another.
That's right.
You know what I mean? But on the average person that's out here doing whatever they do on a normal basis, we're not stupid.
No,
We're not stupid.
The public's not.
We
stupid.
look at the information, we hear the information. The news ain't controlling the narrative no more, because the questions they don't ask, we ask in our head.
And people are very good at processing information.
Right.
I mean, me and you, Steve, we were having dialogue back and forth about the Cameron Reed trial, and we were like, a lot of times we were just nailing stuff, man, just from the stuff that we were listening to.
Yo, it's laughable when, especially when they now, for example, right? Let's talk about this real quick. So Karen Reed was on, was it the Today Show?
Yes, she's been on every show.
So one of the questions was people, what do you say to the people? There's a lot of folks who think you did this and you just got off. And so she came back, well, I haven't met him. And my answer to that too, which people are you talking about? Be specific. So that's the thing about the news. The news, to me, they never give you the whole story. Now, how are you going to, again, which people are you talking about? Are you talking about people related to the Alberts or the people that are being sued by Karen Reed now?
Or John O'Keefe's family?
Yeah. Are you talking about former police officers? Which people are you talking about? Break that down and be more specific, because I didn't agree with that.
Listen, Steve, I haven't met one person that think that she was guilty. Besides the family members, everybody who I talked to, people are not stupid. Everybody saw what went on in that case.
Everybody followed the trial.
It was
heard the evidence.
It was a full collaboration of law enforcement making sure to fix the evidence against her. Mm-hmm. If she did not have the resources and a very good lawyer, she would have went to jail.
Now, the things and there were so many things during the trial that came out. For example, why did they invert the video?
Yes.
That was at the salad. Why was it inverted?
That's right.
They were obviously hiding something, right?
That's right.
And also there was a video that showed when the car was being towed, it showed the headlight. The headlight it was damaged severely, right?
Yes.
It didn't show that in the video when they were transporting the car to the Sally Port. But all of a sudden after that, it had this big old hole in it. How do they explain that?
Steve, just to try to compare something, right? Let's roll back the tape over 30-something years, 35 years,
right,
to the O.J. Simpson trial. I mean, I'm one of those people that still believe O.J. is innocent, only because the police went out of their way. Mark Furman, another racist police officer,
the Michael Proctor of the 70s or whenever that happened.
That was the
80s,
90s.
The 90s. The Michael Proctor of the 90s.
He went out of his way, once again, to fix evidence.
Yep.
And I've watched documentaries on OJ's trial. One thing that a lot of people might not know that's listening, the Goldman, Ron Goldman? Ron Goldman was selling drugs at a restaurant in LA. That where all his clients came.
Mm-hmm.
So of course he got his drugs from the Colombians out there in California, and all his rich, wealthy clients came there.
I thought the son did it back then.
Nicole Simpson, let me say this, Steve. Mm-hmm. Nicole Simpson and Ron Goldman was cut from one side of the neck to the other.
Mm-hmm.
That was an execution.
Oh, no doubt.
I don't think OJ executed them. Ron Goldman was also a black belt in karate.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think OJ goes up in there with a knife and are able to cut two people's necks from ear to ear, Steve?
Mm-hmm.
People never, that's one of the things I always tell people. Did you really listen to that? That was not brought up in the case as far as him selling drugs. They were trying to protect Ron Goldman and Nicole Simpson. Okay, if you watched where the trial went, Steve, that was an execution. That sounded like that was a drug debt that he was in. Mm-hmm. And I think OJ went up on the scene. He panicked, got blood all over him, and that's how he got involved.
Yeah, and it was easy to pin it on him.
It was much easier because he was an abusive husband.
Mm-hmm.
He go up on the scene. He's got blood all over him, and then he flee. with his buddy Al Cowan in the Bronco.
Right.
You know, but to this day, I think OJ was innocent. That's in documentaries when they talk about Ron Goldman selling drugs and being a drug dealer at the restaurant he was worked at, and they never brought up that. And this is just like with the Cameron Reed.
Right.
You had Mark Furman, you had crooked police officers that was trying to plant the evidence, and that's the reason why OJ got off.
Yeah.
And people don't want to accept that. And this is the same thing with Proctor right now. Some of these cases that he investigated, whether the person's guilty or not, they have the potential to get overturned.
Again, they're talking about 19 cases that he was involved in has the potential of being overturned. And this, again, the lead investigator, he was doing this for a very long time. He was also involved in the case in Stoughton with the girl, can't remember her name, who was raped by a police officer who's in jail now.
Yeah, he's in jail. He's on trial for that right now.
Right.
Yes, he was also involved in that case. Yeah, so this thing runs very deep when you look at it. I mean, Cameron Reed, let's face it, things happen for a reason sometimes. She exposed the state troopers. She exposed the Canton Police Department. She went through a lot,
She did. She did. And you know what? I would do the same thing. I would sue everybody.
But remember something, Steve.
I would use all resources, and I would go the whole shebang. I mean,
but remember who she is. She was an upper middle class, educated white woman with plenty of financial assets.
Right.
Professor.
And that's what saved
investment and everything come from a well-to-do family. If she was a minority that was set up with that same evidence, the only way you beat that trial, you need a lawyer. Like
they would be in jail the same way Myles King is in jail right now.
Yes, you would need some public defender who's willing to go to bat for you, or some lawyer like the female we were just discussing earlier, Mary Jo,
Mary Capuccio or something like that. Capuccio,
yeah. And someone like her who's willing to go to bat for you when she see that things are being done wrong. And she's been a front runner in, helping guys get out of jail that's been wrongly convicted, but if you don't have the resources like Cameron Reed, you sit in jail for a while.
You sit in jail again, like Myles King, and he's locked up since 2021, accused of murder. Again, we don't know whether he did it or not, but when you look at first of all, his attorney have been asking for the discovery. This happened in 2021. They still have not received the discovery, and they have not shown the arrest warrants.
Yes,
So you talk again. It's 2026. Where's the discovery? Why hasn't he gone to trial yet? It makes you wonder. And after finding out that Michael Proctor was involved in the lead investigator for that case, and knowing what he did in the Karen Reed case, and after hearing the text messages, this is a widespread problem.
If I'm the family of the young man that's being accused that died, I would be pissed off that this guy actually investigated this case.
Yeah.
Because every family wants justice for a loved one that gets killed. So I would really be upset right now that this guy was on this case.
The people are not stupid.
Yeah,
the people are not stupid, and oftentimes we are made to look like we did something we didn't do.
Most definitely.
Because you have the higher power in a police officer or in a guy who's filling out a report. How do you fight that? How do you fight something you didn't do versus someone who has the authority to write up whatever they want in a report?
That's right.
It's a major problem. That was Michael Proctor. And there's more Proctors out there.
Of course.
There's more out there. I mean, again, the fallout from that case since the acquittal of Karen Reed, it's crazy.
I personally think everyone should be held accountable.
And I was told after that, not guilty, after she was found not guilty, I was told by a police officer that, listen, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen next. A, B, C, D, and E. And everything that I read to you earlier about the fallout has all happened.
It's all happened, yeah.
It's all happened.
I really think there's some more things that's going to come down the pipe with this.
Yeah.
You know?
I definitely agree. But it's a major problem. And I'm just reading something real quick. Okay. Karen Reed exposed some nasty, vicious law enforcement officers. However, she should have been convicted to the death I don't agree with that. I don't agree. Matter of fact, if you can call in, I don't want to put your name out there, but please call in if you can, and we will not say your name.
So,
right?
So that's basically someone that thinks she was guilty.
I'll read it again. Karen Reed exposed some nasty, vicious law enforcement officers. However, she should have been convicted for the death of John O'Keefe. I would like to have a conversation just asking, like, why. Or text me why so I can read that. I won't say your name.
Wow.
I just want to know why. Because, listen, I'm all for if a person did it, you do the crime, you got to do the time. Right?
Now,
but everything they said she did was not proven that it happened.
Exactly.
From her hitting him with the car. What happened to my question? All right, to this person, I'm not going to say her name. Why did the dog disappear all of a sudden? And the dog was his owner was a former Boston police officer, now retired. What happened to the dog?
Why
did they sell the house? Why did they redo the basement?
Why was there a text Google message? How long does it take before a body dies out in the snow?
Right.
Answer those questions. Why did they mess with the camera when they were filming her car, the broken taillight?
Yeah, why was the camera inverted? How do you explain the rear taillight not being cracked or broken to the extent it was later on after it was told to the Sally Pruitt?
Now the person that's questioning
now if you can help me understand those things, explain it to a way where okay, but no one's been able to do that.
So you're telling me that she purposely ran him over and left him in the snow, and none of this could be actually proven?
Okay, so here's all right. We can agree to disagree, of course. I sat through both of the trials every day. There are many things that were not privy to the public. That is true. In the things that we've been privy to since proves to me even more that she was set up. She was it was a major cover-up, if anything. Why didn't they section off the crime scene? They never sectioned it off. Why did they use the cups that we drink out of?
Whatever. Yeah, you come to a crime scene with Dunkin' Donuts cups and Stop and Shop bags.
Yeah,
to collect evidence. The
only way that I could believe that she did this, you got to prove it.
Explain the dog marks on his arm.
Yeah, what happened to the dog?
Explain the dog marks.
Why is the dog nowhere to be found?
I mean, a person can believe what they want to believe, but
why is the property across the street? There's no video all of a sudden.
Yeah.
There's no video of anything. Why didn't the actual homeowner come outside who had the dog named Chloe? You got sirens, you got lights flashing on your lawns, you got conversations.
That was going to be my next question.
And let me tell you, I've always been the person, I hear and see everything that moves in front of my place.
What was the family name? The Alberts?
The Alberts.
You mean to tell me they slept through fire trucks, ambulances, state police cars, Canton, all of these lights are out there. You slept through this?
Here's a bigger question. This same homeowner was out drinking with the dead guy on his lawn.
That's right.
That same night, hours before. Help me understand.
Well, let me put a question to the individual there again. Why didn't they go knock on the door on the? You know, the Alberts was not interviewed that night, right? There's a dead guy
Right.
found on their lawn, and they don't get interviewed that night, Steve.
Yeah. Right. Let me read. I did not say it was on purpose. I do not believe that she hit him with malicious intent. That is why people have insurance on their vehicles. There are many vehicle homicides that are accidents. Yeah, right. True. But again, they couldn't even prove that what they said she did in terms of hitting him with the vehicle, all of that, Karen Reed's attorneys had professionals come up and give actual data that showed the speed of the car, which the prosecution never used. There was all kinds of information to debunk whatever that guy who did the paint, who tried to do a reenactment, which made no sense.
So Steve, I'm gonna pivot
right
to your text message individual, right? I'm gonna agree slightly with them. In the first trial, Steve, in the beginning, I felt that she might have hit him. They had been out drinking. He gets out the car. He's staggering. She hit him by mistake. Didn't realize she hit him. Knocked him in the snow.
Right.
That was my first thing in the first trial. In the beginning stages, I said, okay, they were drinking. She hit him. He got out the car. She hit him, left him in the snow, not realizing that she hit him.
Right.
And as the trial went on, I said they shouldn't be charging her with killing him. That was an accident in a snowstorm.
Right.
I was actually out that night. I remember it was on a Saturday night. I was out that night driving Uber, and it was a stormy night. I heard about it that Monday. I thought initially that she probably hit him by mistake. And I'm like, they shouldn't be charging her with murder if it was a mistake, just manslaughter. Okay. But Steve, after the trial kept going on and all the evidence came out, I said, wait a minute. They've been taking this evidence and tampering with it.
Yeah.
And when the text messages came out, the collection of evidence, the dog disappearing, them selling the house,
right?
The son having don't forget the son. Remember the scarred up knuckles where he claimed he fell in the driveway?
Yep.
The dog bites, just everything that came out after that. And in the second trial, I just paid more attention to everything, Steve. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. This was a total situation where all the evidence, I mean, let's face it, Steve.
Right.
He went into the house. He got in a fight. And remember, there was also someone in the house, a DA agent that was flirting with her.
Yep.
And a fight started in that house. And they threw him out in the snow. Figure he'd just go about his business. The thing that convinced me that he was inside that house is when they Googled how long does it take before a body dies out in the cold weather.
Not just that, but your
his
phone records your steps.
His phone shows
so
that
the
he
data
went in
from the phone says that he was in the house.
Exactly. They said he never came in.
Right. So listen, okay, let's just say you're right about some of the stuff you just said. Let me just read this other text the person just did. I can promise you that there are fire engines, ambulances, and police cars on my street on a regular, and you will not find me peeking out my window nor opening my door, because when I'm off, I'm off. I want no parts of whatever is going on outside my door, my personal private time. Okay, I get it, and that makes sense. I understand that.
But they were on the Alberts lawn.
Yeah,
and they didn't knock on their door.
Right. If someone's on my steps, if someone's on my grass, I want to know what the hell is going on.
And not only that, they never knocked. He was on their property, Steve. He was found on their property. No one went up to their door and knocked on their door, Steve. You know why?
Yeah.
Because phone calls was made.
All right. So let me read this one here.
Yeah.
She is on camera saying multiple times that she hit him. I hit him. I hit him. She knows that she hit him. Her attorneys told her to shut her mouth. Now, let me, this is my interpretation of what you just said and what you saw, because I saw that. what's the lady's name?
The one that came back.
I think Jennifer McCabe. Jennifer
yes.
McCabe asked her, "Did you hit him?" She said, "What? I hit him. I hit him." She wasn't saying she hit him.
Exactly.
She was answering. She was asking the question, "What? I hit him?" Like Rich, say to me, "Steve, you hit him." Go ahead. Let's do it right now. Say, "Steve, you hit him."
Steve, you hit him?
Huh? I hit him. I hit him.
I remember that.
I hit him.
I remember that.
So she wasn't saying she hit him. It was more of a question. What? I hit him?
Exactly.
And so, listen, I hear you. I'm not mad at the theories, but everything that they said she did, either the videos that they have showed something totally different, like with the taillight. They said that the taillight was broke, and then they showed another video where she actually backed the car into something where the taillight was cracked, but the whole taillight wasn't broke. Exactly. You didn't see the white part of the bulb or anything, right?
Exactly, yes.
And that's shown on video when they towed the car to the Sally Port. But after it was at the Sally Port, when they showed it again, that whole taillight. So explain that. If she did it, just explain some of those things to the point where it makes sense. And they haven't been able to do that.
Steve, let me ask your the individual that's texting. Let's say this. Let me ask her this question. Say if she did hit him.
Yep.
Do you think she should have been charged with murder, or should it just been a manslaughter charge, or vehicular homicide, manslaughter? Do you think some people think she was overcharged from the beginning?
Yeah.
Some people think they could have got a conviction if it was just a manslaughter charge,
mm-hmm.
like an accident.
Right. So, yep, she's going to answer that. A dog has teeth on the top and the bottom of their jaw. The scratches, not punctured wounds, were only on the side of the arm. How is that possible? Well, guess what? We'll never know because the dog ain't here.
The dog's not here.
Where's the dog?
Yeah, because where's
the dog? And that was the family dog.
From the forensic expert, they wanted to take DNA.
Right.
So you have to get rid of the dog, Steve,
right,
because you don't want the DNA trace that he went in the house.
Yeah.
That's why the dog got rid of the dog, because of the DNA.
Right.
Listen, these are all people in law enforcement, that whole circle. Steve, this was a very well calculated plan
mm-hmm.
to try to suppress as much evidence or bring up the evidence on her. What they did, if you think about it, they suppressed evidence, getting rid of the dog, selling the house because the basement floor was drilled and redone because blood stays in cement.
Right.
So not only did they suppress evidence, they also tried to create evidence.
Yeah.
And a very good trial lawyer, he basically picked them apart.
Yeah. And on top of everything, right, Michael Proctor was the lead investigator, right?
Yes.
He was the lead investigator. After hearing what he said in those text messages from planting evidence on the N-word, right? And in the Myles King case, a totally different case, but there's a lot of similarities in what's going on with that case right now. And as far as what happened to Cameron Reed, like, where's the discovery?
That's right.
He's the lead investigator, who's been fired since, of course, but where's the discovery for that? Listen, I mean,
hey, Steve,
listen, if she did it, she should go to jail.
Hey, Steve.
But I'm just the honest guy to the point. I'm not, and most people feel the same way. You got it. If she did it, prove it.
Well, you know what, Steve?
Why is it so hard to prove?
Well, Steve, I'm going to be honest. I have a side joke with Cameron Reed.
Right.
Some people just don't like the way she looked.
My mother is one of them.
I was going to say that. My
mother is one of them. Let me tell you. Mom's got to the point, I don't want to talk it no more. I just don't like her smile. She's cocky. Okay, well, that's different.
Yeah.
But I said to Mom, Mom, what if that was your daughter? Or she would do nothing like that. Right. Exactly. She would do nothing like that. But what if that was her?
I know several people thought Cameron Reed was innocent, but they didn't like her smug looking facial expression in court.
And her name is Karen.
Yes.
On top of all
I know
of that.
people just thought she was innocent, but they just didn't like the way she looked. They
Right.
said she didn't look like she was throwing herself on the mercy of the court.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah.
Any responses, Steve?
Oh yeah, that plenty. Let me go to the latest. Let me see here. Let's see here. The last one. Absolutely, she was overcharged. She should have been charged with the vehicular homicide. Again, I do not believe that there was malicious intent. Okay. I think everybody, if that's the truth that happened, I think everybody would understand that.
I think
but
if they
still,
had,
you gotta prove that.
if they had went with that the first trial, I think they would have got a conviction. And I think her lawyers then probably would have went with that, you know?
You know, I gotta say I love you, but you know what? I totally 1000% disagree with you. I'm just one of those guys, man. I look at things for what it really is. I'm not gonna sugarcoat or try and help someone steer them in another direction of what it's not. It is what it is. You can't deny the fact that the tail light was tampered with. You can't deny the fact that the video was inverted. Why did they invert the video? Why? Why is there no camera footage? You're talking Canton, right? What? None of those houses got rings?
My question is going to always be, Steve, why did they go out their way to make sure the evidence was placed in the right positions?
Right.
If they thought she was guilty, just let everything run its course. But it seems like they did everything to tamper with the evidence back and forth.
And
you
biggest,
know what? In the end, if she's guilty, Steve, law enforcement blew that case.
Right. They blew it. And after knowing what we know about Michael Proctor, knowing what we know about him, obviously he's gonna go around the corner to try and make the case stick. He will do and have done anything by any means necessary to try and make a case stick.
Yeah.
All right. He said that himself.
Yeah.
I'll plant evidence. I'll plant coke on him.
Yeah.
You know? So listen, if she did it, then she deserves to be locked up. But if you followed the trial and you watched and saw and looked at the evidence, I mean, for example, you see somebody steal something, you see it with your own eyes. They stole it. But then somebody comes in and changes the narrative by just saying, don't you wear contacts? Yeah, I do. Did you have them in that day? Did you have them in that day?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's a whole different story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like kind of happened with this. When you're in control of the narrative, you can make people think whatever you want them to think by just changing a few things, and because you have that leadership role. Michael Proctor was the lead investigator. I mean, in law enforcement for that case. So automatically, he's the lead investigator. You're going to believe him, right? You're supposed to believe him because he's the lead investigator.
Well, you're going with the integrity of law enforcement.
Right.
They're supposed to be held to the highest standards.
Right. And so you got that on top of all of the unanswered questions. What happened to the tail light? Help me with that one. What happened to the tail light? Because it wasn't like that when it was on the tow truck. So what happened to the tail light? Did someone break it? I think that's what happened. I think someone, and then all of a sudden they didn't see the fragments of the tail light on the crime scene that night, which was never tapered off, but they found it the next day or the next 2 days or something like that, all of a sudden.
Also, Steve, when they brought in the forensic expert, I think that's what they're called, that does the phones.
Yeah.
They said his phone showed the temperature change in his phone when he went into the house versus when he was outside. So they showed his phone, I think, went up like an incline. They showed all his movements.
Right.
So they showed that his phone did go inside the house.
Right. And don't get me.
But why would they lie and said he never came in the house?
Right. The phone, especially with Apple phones, it tells you how many steps you've taken, and that data in the phone showed that he was in the house.
And there was a quick drop in the temperature when he came outside.
Right.
Or thrown outside.
Yeah. So there's just a lot of those. All right. I mean, let me get you the link right now. I see you, bro. Let me get you the link right now. Listen, again, if you do the crime, you got to do the time. But you just can't throw people in jail. You got to prove that they did what they did. And they didn't do that with Karen Reed. If anything, they proved that they were covering it up.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
That's what I saw. I saw a cover up.
A lot of law enforcement got exposed in this case.
Yeah.
And it was for the good, for the public.
It was for the good. Imagine if Michael Proctor was still on the job.
Yeah.
Smiling, still doing the text messages. Oh, I'm going to lock up 5 in people today.
Don't forget about the Canton police officer also that just either retired or
Sean
resigned.
Good.
Yeah.
Sean Good was on the other end of those text messages.
A couple of weeks ago. They just resigned, you know.
Right. Now, Michael Proctor, I hear he's living with his sister.
Well, from my understanding, Steve, they did a complete overhaul of the whole Canton Police Department.
Right. All right. Go ahead, Rich. I'm just sending out.
Yeah, they did a complete overhaul of the Canton Police Department. And I've watched that trial. The judge that they had seemed like the judge was in bed. And then they brought up some stuff on her, how she was basically all connected with the Canton Police Department also.
I'm not sure which police officer it was, but one of those police officers involved in the case rented out her house on the Cape.
Yes. So everybody was connected.
That was a conflict of interest.
I personally thought the second trial should have been moved out of Dedham.
It should have. It should have. And if you watched it, Beverly was her first name.
Yeah.
She was definitely siding with the prosecution.
Yeah, the whole time. I mean, her vibes and everything just was, to me, consistent with that she was more on the prosecution side the whole time.
All right, man. I just sent you the stream key, so go ahead, log on in, and we'll bring you up. We're going to talk about Juneteenth in a second, y'all, and who set the Porta-Potties on fire, if you didn't know. We're going to talk about that next. But listen, I love you, baby, but I can't agree with you. I just can't. And I want to agree with you, but again, I'm all about facts. What are the facts? And if anything, the facts show something way different from what they were trying to prove. It showed, the facts to me showed that they were covering something up and they were hiding something.
There's too many.
There's too many coincidences.
Too many.
How do we have all these police officers who were involved in the case either retired, fired, on desk duty, and still might be fired? How does that happen?
And everybody was connected.
Everybody was connected.
That's the main thing. There was just too much nepotism involved in this case.
So those are the questions, you know, just as a person, you got to answer those questions for me. Again, what happened to the taillight? Okay. What happened to the dog? Why did you do your base? Someone was killed that you was just hanging out with an hour ago.
That's right.
It just doesn't make sense.
If you're a legit police officer, and I'm going to go back once again to the O.J. Simpson case.
Right.
Why did Mark Furman feel he had to tamper with the evidence?
Right.
If you're a legit police officer, why are you tampering with the evidence?
So it's a major problem. And again, the Myles King case, he's been locked up since 2021. We don't know whether he did it or not. Again, if you do the crime, you got to do the time, right? Michael Proctor, the lead investigator on that case, the defense still has not received, and I could be wrong, but it's 2026. This happened in 2021. They still have not received any discovery on that case at all. He's still locked up.
This young man, Myles, I don't know. I haven't seen have anybody identified him of being at the scene, you know?
And that's one of the other issues. They're saying that the witness statements aren't matching up.
Okay.
They're saying the witness, let me pull something up here.
I mean, got to feel sorry for the family on the other side.
Yeah.
When you have a police officer that, that's not,
He was immediately incarcerated. Witness statements don't match. There was a rush to judgment. Let me see here. They haven't provided any paperwork on any of the search warrants. So, again, Michael Proctor was involved in, he was the lead investigator. It's just a lot of unanswered questions. Like, if she did it, why is it so hard to prove the smallest things? I don't understand. And I love the police officers. I love my friends.
Yeah.
Great people. But, guys like Michael Proctor just, it adds another black eye.
And just like you, Steve, I have friends that are in law enforcement. Right. They thought she was innocent,
Yeah.
A lot of them thought she was innocent.
Yeah.
Because I think they didn't like the fact how the evidence was tampered with through the whole trial,
Yeah. Yeah. So, let me see here. In the case, the lawsuits, the McCabe family and the Alberts, they went on immediately after the trial. Was it the Today Show? They went on the media thing and they just started talking about how they're being harassed and all this other stuff. And again, man, I just think when you look at everything that was said, from the red cups, the crime scene not being taped off, the dog is gone. Okay, well, there were bite marks from what they say that was on his arm, bite marks.
Don't forget the cell phone data.
Right, the cell phone data. Yeah, why did you get rid of your cell phone?
What about the tow truck? The plow truck that said he came by at a certain time and there was nobody outside.
There was nobody outside. Now, initially they was trying to pin it on him, I think, because initially
on
they
the
said
plow truck that he might have hit him. But the timing of it all got screwed up because he had made a phone call to his dispatcher saying that there was a Ford something in front of the Alberts house. Yes.
That's on audio.
On audio, yes.
And that was at a certain time. So that screwed up them trying to pin it on him.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
So listen, I just think the public, we're not stupid. We're not stupid. I mean, I think, and let's be honest too. Social media has added a lot of value to when it comes to getting the proper news. You still got to sift to it because you can get bad news as well. But the news you get on social media now is kind of better than what you get on TV because you're never going to get the whole story on television.
That's right.
You get more off of social media. You still got to dot your I's and cross your T's, but you get more off of social media today than you get on actual television. Television is going to give you half the story.
Yeah, that's true because you have so many people out there with the video footage on, with the phone camera and everything, and it goes viral really quick now,
Right. Let me read one more. It's clear why he got rid of the cell phone. He had way too many negative things about too many people on completely separate incidents. Okay. I can go with that. But at the same time, there's also detailed information of data when he was with John O'Keefe that evening. Remember, they were all at the bar drinking.
Yeah, exactly.
They were all at the bar drinking. Karen Reed said she dropped them off at the house.
And there's video footage of John O'Keefe and Cameron Reed, being lovey-dovey,
having drinks, happy, not arguing or anything like that. Of course, we all know things can change in a second. We've all been in relationships and we're happy and all of a sudden we're fighting.
Yeah.
So we understand that too. But listen, man.
And she helped that family out tremendously with finances.
Yeah, talk about that because you got a lot of information on that.
Yeah.
Talk about what she did for the family.
Yeah. The John O'Keefe's brother, I guess, had passed away. She helped the kids, the money that they raised, she invested it for the kids, set up a trust fund and everything,
Mm-hmm.
because I believe she worked for Fidelity or one of those companies. She also taught as a professor. I believe it was Bentley University,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken. And she helped the family a lot, set up the money, invested the money for the kids' trust fund and everything. They lost both of their parents. John O'Keefe's niece and nephew lost his brother and their mother.
Right.
So she helped the family out. So it was funny how the family turned on her and made her out to be this evil person all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And that was another thing, the way they just turned on her.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to be honest, it was a whole collaboration.
Yeah.
That they had to pin that murder on her,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it looked like to me,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm glad the truth came out, how they messed with the evidence, and you know what? Like I said, in the beginning, the first trial, I thought she was overcharged. I said, well, if they're charging her with murder, she might have hit him just dropping him off, not realizing it was a snowstorm that night, and she backed up and hit him, not realizing it, drove off. I didn't think there was no reason to charge her with murder, maybe manslaughter. But then when the evidence came out, hey, they were trying to piece together everything they could to convict her.
Right.
And you know what? It blew up in their face, even if she might have hit him by mistake, which now, when it came out, I don't believe she did. I believe he went inside that house and there was a confrontation for whatever reason. And he was thrown outside in the snow. He was beat up. He didn't die from his wounds. He basically died from freezing in the snow. And you know what, Steve? One more point. They never did say what his cause of death was,
Well, there's a lot of things about the case that till this day, those questions haven't been answered. And,
also, the crash dummy. Remember the crash dummy that they did with the car, Steve?
Yep.
Had her car going like 20 miles an hour. And they was like, there's no way she could have killed him going at that speed.
Right. Right. I'm sorry. 1 second here. I'm just trying to I'm sending the phone number and the link to you right now. I'm going to text it to you because I definitely want to get you on real quick. All right. I send you both. You should have both now, my guy. All right. Man, I tell you, we want to believe, and I still do trust in some law enforcement, not everybody. Of course, when things happen, I told you my experience. You know, we've all had bad experiences. We've all had good experiences.
Most definitely.
We know it's not the entire police force. If it were, we all be in really bad trouble.
That's right.
But if you were involved in an incident and Michael Proctor was involved, good luck. Good luck, because we got 19 cases that might be thrown out, whether these people did the crime or not, just based off of the emails and the text messages and voice messages that he displayed and what recently happened. Yeah. So hello, welcome to the Urban Heat. Who's this?
Chip Greenwich.
What's up, Chip?
I'm jumping on.
You jumping on real
I'm
quick?
jumping on.
All right, I know you don't have a lot of time, so let's get right to it. Folks, we want to talk about Juneteenth real quick, which was a fabulous weekend. Wonderful event at Franklin Park. From what I hear throughout the country, things went pretty well. What are your thoughts about that weekend there, Chip?
Well, hey, everyone. I'm good to hear everybody today.
Hey, Chip, how you doing, brother?
Yesterday, first of all, what's up, brother? What's up, sports?
All right, man. How you doing?
Very well. First of all, man, what a wonderful day. Well, let's jump back to Karen Reed.
Yep.
You know, I tried to ignore that whole thing for like 7 months. Mm-hmm. But once you got into Readiverse, it's a whole new world. I mean, it's jumping like in a whole new universe to find out what the hell is going on in Canton. I couldn't believe it. I'm not sure if people realize, but there is a brother from Boston who was the foreman. You guys know that?
No, we. Oh yes,
that's right.
I've seen him. I've seen him speaking out many times. Yes.
Yeah, he's from Boston.
Mm-hmm.
So he right now. I know him. I know his brother Carly DeLoach, but he right now is someone that we should try to. I'll try to figure out a way how to get him on this show.
Yeah, let's make that happen. Most definitely.
Yeah, he's a brother from Boston, so he's doing a lot of good things and so forth. But it's a total new universe to find out what the cops actually can do and the power that they do. You both were saying very strong things today about conflict of interest and all these other things. They're supposed to recuse themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are nailing it on the head by saying that this is just a total botch job and how many hands were in the pot to make this happen. So, great job on sharing this information because, if they do a sister like that, what do you think they've done to the brothers and sisters in our neighborhoods for years?
That's right.
Right. And
exactly.
and she just was fortunate enough to have the finances to have her team together like that. But the average person doesn't have those type of finances, would have probably been locked up a long time ago.
Also you gotta give the investigation reporting of the grassroots of Turtle Boy.
Yeah,
who
that's right.
He was on this thing and wasn't letting this thing go. Yeah, you can like him, you can hate him, but guess what? He kicked this door open.
I'm glad you mentioned him, Chip, because I was thinking about him. I'm glad you mentioned him.
He's the one. This thing would have been buried. He kicked this door open wide. So a lot of kudos got to giving to exactly like agencies like yourselves of being able to bring these kind of discussions out into the open and operate, that you don't rely on the regular newspapers that are all pretty much listen. I think Steve, you said it. They pretty much listen to what they believe. What they believe what the cops are gonna say. They actually believe. They don't even answer those questions.
Right, because if
you're nailing it.
No, you're right. Because if you follow the trial through the news, you would have definitely believed that she did it.
And
in the most important things having to do with Proctor, they kind of gave you a blurb of that information, and now all of a sudden that was the biggest issue with the whole entire case.
And you know what, Chip? I know you're familiar with this guy, just like Steve is. This guy put a lot of information. A lot of people don't like him, but the guy actually gives out some information. He's been doing it for probably 40 years. I've been reading him. Howie Carr,
Oh, wow.
People don't like him. But you know what? Howie Carr exposes a lot of corruption in the state.
Right.
Him and Turtle Boy was doing a collaboration with this whole trial the whole time.
Right. And there's this whole new discussion right now, and Daniel Allen at Harvard University has shared this kind of discussion at the Kennedy School, but also in other open areas, is that about the issue about pluralism, about us being able to have discussions and not being so sidelined by one way of thinking, but opening out to many ways of thinking of how to solve a problem. And so this is kind of the more kind of ways of going forward. And another thing, I'm not sure if you guys are aware before I'm going to put this back into going to Juneteenth, is that Daniel Allen at Harvard University, but also she's a part of this coalition, that she actually got on the ballot question that now going forward, and on the ballot question is coming in September, is that you don't have to now in Massachusetts vote just by your party. So if someone's a Republican or someone's a Democrat, usually they give you the Democrat ballot or the ballot. But they're putting a question on the thing is that you can vote anyone that you want to that is on the ballot.
That makes sense.
Hello?
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
This is past 24 hours. The court said this was available. But this is what, because Daniel Allen, who was at Harvard Kennedy School, but she a couple of years ago tried to run for governor, but she realized that she couldn't get her voice across because is that the whole system was rigged, that she couldn't get the her thinking and her knowledge and her because they had everything already lined up for the gun machine of the Democratic Party. I.e., go look at the Kamala Harris situation.
That's right, exactly. I mean, Charlie Baker was a Republican governor, but let's face it, Republicans didn't really care for Charlie Baker. They called him a rhino. And more Democrats voters voted for Charlie Baker probably than anyone, you know?
You hear that? You hear that?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, that's just the truth of the matter. And let me tell you, Deval Patrick, who was a Democrat, I worked for the MBTA. He was anti-union. He fought us hard for most of our contracts, tooth and nail.
Do you hear that? You're hitting the argument right there.
Yeah,
he was anti-union.
He was anti-union, and this is a Democratic guy, and he fought us tooth and nail for every contract. Man, he tried to privatize the MBTA and everything.
You hear the argument here.
Yeah. So
this is actually going as a ballot question on the ballot. Is that, do you want to just still go Democrat, Republican, Independent in Massachusetts on our way that we vote, or are you open to open this up to be like one person, one vote?
Yeah, that makes sense. You know.
There you go. That's the question. And you know what? The Democratic Party was against this 100%.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. Wow. So, all right, let's actually, before we jump on Juneteenth, I'm going to talk about the Myles King case real quick, because I'm sure you heard about that. He was arrested for murder in 2021, and the lead investigator, Michael Proctor, the lead investigator for Karen Reed, of course.
Oh my God!
He's still locked up, and his attorney, Mary Capiccio, excuse me for saying the name incorrectly, they've been requesting the discovery, and here we are in 2026. As far as I know, they still don't have the discovery on that case, but he's locked up. And again, I just want to stress this: if you did the crime, you damn should be able to do the time. But how do we know that based on the lead investigator? I mean, everything is flawed with him right now because of the discovery of the text messages, the audio, and all the racial slurs and against black people, talking about planting evidence. And here we go, got the Myles King case, still in jail, and
So Chip, with your knowledge of this, right? With how do you feel? I mean, with all those cases lingering out there, I think Steve said 19. How does the court process these cases when the guy's not on the force anymore? Do you have any knowledge of that?
No, I'm not a lawyer, and so I want to just have his opinion. But I want to just bring up both of you guys a person's name by the name of Annie Dukin. Do you guys remember Annie Dukin?
I was gonna mention her actually. Yes,
this is exactly
she worked in the drug lab for the state police, in the state drug lab, and all those cases had to be thrown out because she was messing with the evidence instead of testing the drugs. She later on, I believe she said she had so many cases she couldn't keep up, and she was just giving false samples.
Yep.
Yeah, she did some time in jail. Yeah.
How many people got out of jail?
Oh,
it was a significant amount. I tell you that.
Listen, I heard from on the street was they were giving parties up at Walpole and Concord when they found out that she worked on their case. Guys were celebrating.
Thousands. Get out of jail free card.
Yes.
And so you know what? You gotta. I mean, I'm not a lawyer and so forth, but you gotta follow the same kind of reasoning and argument. If we get, you have to get him to get some kind of court case or something like that in order for that to actually happen.
which is going to be pretty sad on both sides. One, you got innocent people locked up, and then you also most definitely got some people who were guilty as well. You know.
Well, what about lawsuits?
Going to be set free.
Cases that he worked on that he might have, you know, some type of messing with the evidence. What about lawsuits? Probably.
Well, you know, one thing that Annie Dukin did is that they had so much evidence against her that she had to admit it. I mean, you know what I mean? She had to admit it.
And,
you know.
Yeah, and like you said, thousands of people were let out of jail, and it was kind of like, okay, she had to do some time. She did a couple of years in jail. I remember that case. Yeah, very well. You know, she's famous. I mean, a lot of guys on the street, man, they thanking her to this day for letting them out, you know?
But you know what? That shouldn't actually be the case. You know what I mean? Is that and this is what both you and Steve were saying, is that we need people to be able to recuse themselves. We need people to be able to really follow conflicts of interest laws. And also we need to be able to have just reporting from our newspapers.
Most definitely.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about Juneteenth real quick. Great weekend, man.
Beautiful day.
Beautiful day. And let me just say this real quick, man. You know, we all know the you know, black is beautiful, right? But if you don't know what that means, you've never been to Juneteenth, my God, listen. Juneteenth is the epitome of the black is beautiful. I mean, all ages, you know, all the way up, you know, younger, older, beautiful people was out on Saturday at Franklin Park, man. Great event. And in fact, if it was over at the Shattuck, and I had a conversation with Marv about this, I think it would have been really, really tight over there, because over at the Playstead, they was all along, you know, where you go all the way down to the end of the back of the zoo, all the way up going towards White Stadium.
Right.
Beautiful scene to just see everybody out having a good time celebrating Juneteenth that day, man. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, is that we got to give it up to Black Boston for really coming together, and everyone sharing food and sharing tents and sharing love and seeing people and so forth. Central Park was, of course, the heat, urban heat right here. You guys kept the place moving and rocking, and everyone was dancing in front and so forth. And you guys kept on switching up DJs and sounds and so forth. So give up to the whole family at Urban Heat for being a really central piece for everything.
Yeah, definitely. Black Boston is here, and all the politicians were there. So, you know, your vote obviously count, because if it didn't, they would not have been there. We'd have everyone there, from the governor to the mayor, Ayanna Pressley. I mean, you name it, that person, they were there in politics. Great event. What are your thoughts on what happened to the Porta-Potties, man? You got any information on who set the Porta-Potties on fire? By the way, this happened the morning before the Freedom Day event happened over at the Playstead at Franklin Park.
Now, how many Porta-Potties were there?
I'm not sure of the exact amount, but it was a whole row of at least four Porta-Potties.
So 4 Porta-Potties, and then the next morning there's just a piece of plastic on the ground.
Yeah, they were burnt down to the ground. So let me just give you my theory. First of all, Marv, who just stepped out, I want to get Marv on, because Marv was there the night before, or I think it was 2 or 3 in the morning, whatever time it was. He was there, and he saw a couple of guys on the mopeds. And also the security, or whoever the guy is that work at Franklin Park, said the same thing. He said it was Dominicans on a bike, right? And so with that being said, like why would they do that? You know, unless they were paid to do it. I'm thinking the way it happened, again, it was burnt down to the ground. You're not just gonna go get newspaper, light the newspaper up and throw it in those Porta-Potties and get it charred down to the ground the way it happened.
They for those to burn down like that, what's the word? Accelerant? Is that the word, Chip?
Yeah, you're right. You're right on. I think you're right.
I'm told there was a total of 8 Porta-Potties, by the way.
That means they took the time. Right. They took the time. Let's use a little common sense. Let's use a little bit of detective work.
Right.
You went and got an accelerant, probably gasoline,
That's right.
something that's going to ignite really quick. You took the time to go get some accelerant and you set those on fire. And let's face it, you went to a gas station probably. You put some gas in the can because gas stations let you they got the plastic containers. They let you fill up with gas. You go get $2 worth of gas. And you took the time to go get that and come and set those on fire. When I heard about it, I personally thought it was intentional.
Oh, it was definitely intentional.
And I don't think it was no one personally from the black neighborhood that would do that on the weekend of Juneteenth.
No, it was intentional. It was done, I think, around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Definitely intentional, and there's definitely was something else behind it. Marv, I need you to come in here real quick because Marv, just sit in any one of the mics. Okay, so Marv's gonna come in. Marv was actually setting up the night before or the morning before, and I just want him to tell the story real quick about what he saw in the guys that were on the bikes. He's gonna come back in here in a second.
You know, one of the things I want to say, Chip.
But the question I have,
go ahead.
But that question I have is about what is the intent and why? Now, I'm just trying to think it on the other side, to go the other way on this is that, do you think these Dominican brothers, as alleged, do you think they even know what Juneteenth is?
Okay, I'm going to answer that question. Coming up to this year's Juneteenth, I cross paths with a lot of other ethnic groups, and Juneteenth is picking up so much steam right now. There's a lot of other ethnic groups outside of us that really don't know the true meaning of it. I had to explain to them what it was all about.
Yeah. All right, but you just think or do you just think this is just a random act of, I'm just trying to play the devil's advocate here. It's just a random act of a bunch of 19, 20, 21, 22-year-olds, nothing to do, see these things that have not been out here before. Let me just go ahead and just mess with something. I'm just trying to, do you hear what I'm trying to do?
I will hope that's not the case, but for them to take the time to get something that's going to ignite like that, it had to be some intent.
All right, is Marv coming in?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we got Marv on, and let me just fix something really quick. Yeah, actually, turn the volume down on that, Marv. We can get some clear sound. And
okay, volume
down. Is it all the way down?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Let me because Marv is not Nick Collins, so let's get rid of that. All right.
All right. So what are we talking about?
Boom, boom, boom. And I'm sorry. Hold on, folks.
Hey, Marv, man. Great outfit on that day, man. I saw you, man. You got your little Papa Smurf light blue on. I'm very proud of the outfit you had on. You look wearing gray, you know what I mean? The Papa Smurf, good job, man.
Well, thank you, brother.
All right, so that's good. Very good. So, Marv, you were there the night before the event. Tell us what happened, man, or what you saw anyways, because you clearly saw the guys on the mopeds.
Yeah, so when I went over there, it was about 2:30 in the morning. So we tried to go through, me and Tap. We tried to get over there just to check on the spot and see if it was going to make sense to drop off the canopy and kind of set things up. And then I was just going to go home and then come back. But the road was blocked. So I came through the back way. The police had the road blocked off both ends. They didn't want anybody in there. I came through the back way, and I came from the White Stadium side and drove down and, through the trees and all and made my way over.
Right.
So when we pulled up, there was two guys on mopeds that kept going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So when we got there, they sped down towards the entrance.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, they didn't come back up. And then once we finished doing what we were doing, we left. I saw them going back up towards the, where the Porta-Potties were.
And these were young.
I couldn't tell, man.
Right.
It was dark. I mean, it was just two. Only I can tell you is it was two individuals on either mopeds or motorcycle. I think it was more like them little motorcycles because they were going fast.
Right.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah.
I will tell you this though. After I gave this some thought and really processed this, it to me it made sense if the people who brought the porta potties there set them on fire themselves.
Mm.
that makes sense to me, And listen, you got to think, right?
You know what?
So check this out, right?
I didn't think about that,
So check this out. Check this out. Here you are, right? You have the porta potty company, right? And again, this is all alleged. I'm not saying this is what happened,
right?
But you own the company. You have 7, 8, 9 older model porta potties, and you want new ones, right? What do? Do they sell the old porta potties, or they just toss them out and take the L?
And
there's an opportunity for you to set these up. All right. You already know that they're going to have the area blocked off.
Right.
So no one's going to be over there. Burn them up. Get the insurance and get new ones. So now,
not a bad theory.
It's hard for people to digest that, right? But think about it. There's no one over there. When they dropped the porta potties, they knew that no one was going to be there. Right? They knew that it was going to be blocked off.
It was definitely intentional.
Yeah. And so where people keep saying, oh, this was done to disrupt Juneteenth, I'm saying that is a ridiculous theory. Because
I don't think so.
I'm going to tell you why.
I was trying to think it through.
I'm going to tell you why.
Bob, I was on the same thing, Marv.
I'm going to tell you.
I was pushing that.
I'm going to tell you why I say that someone trying to disrupt Juneteenth by burning the porta potties is ridiculous, because if you are really a disruptor, I have a diabolical mind sometimes. I'm not just going to burn porta potties. If I am trying to disrupt the flow, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring enough gas and I'm going to burn the porta potties. I'm going to burn them picnic tables. I'm burning that whole area. I'm dousing everything in that area, and I'm gonna leave a trail of gas, and I'm gonna light that, and I'm gonna walk away and let it go and do what it did.
Not a bad theory.
I mean, the porta potties were burned, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's all that was burned is the porta potty. So in my mind, I'm like, yeah, it's a good insurance scheme, because they're like, yeah, we put these porta potties over here in this community, and overnight they were torched.
Now, question I'm gonna push you, Marv, on this is that we heard the word that they were Dominicans. Now, were they saying "Que pasa, amiga? Pues fue bien, 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 bien," or how do we know that?
So
I'm being Judge Judy. I'm being Judge Judy right now.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you, right? The security guard said his words because I was one of the first people there after the fire and everything was out. He said, because I said, what happened? He said some Dominican kids on motorcycles burned the porta potties. It's racial. And then I said, how do you know that they were Dominican? He was very specific. How do you know that they were Dominican? He said, I heard him talking.
All right.
I heard him talking.
Okay.
So I'm like, dude, I was over there before they were burned. I did see the people on the scooters, the motorcycles, right? But I didn't hear nobody talking. I didn't hear nobody talking at all. So I'm like, dude, really? Is that so? I mean, look,
so you heard him talking Dominican?
Exactly.
Was it Ecuadorian? Was it Puerto Rican?
The thing is, Dominican is not a language. They speak Spanish.
Right.
So I mean, these are the questions that you ask. If I was a Judge Judy, would be like, hold on, let's find out. Did they have a Dominican shirt on? Did they wave a flag?
Right.
You know what I mean?
So I think that he said that because that's probably either what was said to him and then he just ran with it, or he may have heard someone speaking Spanish and decided that this is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth of the matter is, the only people that know who actually set those porta potties on fire are the people who did it, and the people either who paid them or told them to do it, and the people they told that they did it.
Right.
And Mark, make sure you say this is alleged.
Allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, right.
Yeah.
Well,
So.
despite all that, they bought new porta potties over, so it didn't have an effect on the event.
Nah, not at all.
You know,
not at all. I mean, Dita Weeda was like, "Oh yeah, they
were ready. They were all ready to go, Mark. Right?
Yeah,
those new porta potties all ready to go.
They burned the porta potties. Nobody could use the bathroom.
I gotta go all the way home and take it. You know what?
There was. But see, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. If it was like that, right? Because I'm looking at the evidence at hand. When where those porta potties were, if you looked to your right, there were two more across the way, different company.
Yep.
If you look to your left,
but they were locked though. Those were locked.
No,
they
weren't. I
weren't.
used one of them.
Oh, okay.
I used one. If you look to your left, there was one up by the parking, and then if you went a little further down, there was another one, and then there was a purple one in the middle of the field. So all those different porta potties. Why, if it was to disrupt so that no one could use the bathroom, why didn't they burn all of them?
Mm-hmm.
Why they just burn those blue ones? And so that gets my mind going, and I'm asking the question: well, why was it just these blue ones and not the gray ones and the purple ones?
That's right.
And I'm just like, okay, yeah. So this was calculated. This wasn't malicious. This was calculated, and whoever did it was looking for an outcome that I'm sure they got. Right? And then those porta potties are gone, and then the city brings in more. Right? Different company.
And first thing Monday, you file your insurance claim, and
Yeah,
voila. You know?
No, I mean, it's simple. It's simple.
So yeah, so
now,
that was
the question. The question I have, and this is, we're in the back of the zoo now. I know what's the big ape that was at the zoo that hung out and
it was on Seaver Street years ago.
Yeah,
Little Joe.
Yeah. Now I know, because they love Joe and love all that. Where are the security cameras?
So there is one camera back there, but it's not pointed in that direction conveniently.
Totally.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, I mean, come on. Like, it don't take a rocket scientist to figure out what's going on. It doesn't. I mean, you just got to use good reasoning and
there you go. That's right.
And so for me, like, yeah, I am a conspiracy theorist to a point, but for this one, when I sat down and thought about it, I'm like, oh no, this was not a racial attack. This was not white supremacy. This was not a hate group.
And why would the Dominicans be mad? I mean, let's face it. They got all the business. We spend money within the community with them. Everyone eats at Dominican restaurants. They're the last person that should have a problem.
Yeah.
That just didn't make sense for me, because I was just like, hold on. Like, first of all, I bet if you ask half the Dominicans that just got here, I bet several of them that might have just got here, they would never know what even Juneteenth is. So this is not the old school Dominicans. These are new school Dominicans. All right. So,
which is
so go ahead.
Which is why I thought they might have been paid. If that were the case, that was just a theory that I thought. Why would they do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense. I agree.
I think that when you look at that kind of thing, kids do stupid things sometimes, right? Kids do stupid things. They do destructive things. However, those porta potties were burned to nothing, which meant there had to be a strong enough accelerant to burn
there you go.
all of them. That was not lighter fluid. That was not charcoal starter fluid. Think about it. How thick that plastic is, right?
Right.
If a person even lit the toilet paper in there, there'd be black marks on the inside of the porta potty when it's done. The plastic, the heavy, thick plastic burned and melted.
So that was gasoline.
Exactly.
No doubt.
And even if you got one of them burning, is it gonna be that is it gonna be to the point that all of them burn? Just if you got one burning, so you needed to accelerate all of them.
They took the time to douse them all
of
inside
course,
with gasoline.
Of course. That's the only thing that makes sense is that there was gasoline introduced to the situation, and it was put inside and outside of all of them.
Yeah.
And then it was lit. And then that way.
And that took a little time.
Yeah. And then when it burned all the way to the ground. Like y'all saw it. There was nothing left. It was just a melted sheet of plastic on the ground.
And then you zoom away on the bikes.
Yeah.
Great getaway. Perfect getaway.
Yeah.
Better than the car. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You can cut through the grass. You can go wherever.
But let me just push this conversation in another. How many do you guys think this was the most celebrated Juneteenth we ever had?
So I think for me, I don't know that it was the most celebrated, but I think that it was one of the better ones just for me, because
not just the event, meaning that all around the city that places were embracing.
Yeah, I would say that. Yes, I would agree with that.
I thought it was. I couldn't believe it. I thought everybody was embracing.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. There was Juneteenth events happening everywhere. So yeah, around the city, I would agree. Yes, very, very celebrated. I think it was an amazing time.
Rich, what do you think?
Yeah, it was amazing because I was through Roxbury and the South End. You know what's amazing? I saw a lot of different ethnic groups celebrating in the South End, wearing shirts and stuff. That was really embracing, to see other ethnic groups embracing it.
I totally agree as well. And I'm going to ask you the question that you asked last week, Chip. What do we do after? So what are we doing?
Yeah.
we celebrated the event. We all know what it's all about. So now we're a couple of days after. So what do we do from this point on? How do we start accomplishing more of those goals that we celebrated on Friday and Saturday, and throughout the week?
I want to push a concept of that. Juneteenth should not just be those 2 days or 1 day or whatever. That we should push it out for more of a 2-week span, because there were events on top of events, and so we have to be more in concert and community and talking about. There was 17 events happening the same day. You know what I mean? So I think that Boston, as you noticed this week, we're going to go back into the dearth of not having anything to do because everyone's exhausted from last week. So I think there needs to be a concentrated effort about ways that we can actually take over the whole month. I mean, isn't it also Black Music Month as well? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, June. Yeah,
June is Black Music Month.
Black Music Month, which hasn't been talked about enough.
Jesus, there you go. So let's start pushing the discussion about more of that. But also, it's also a place, as you noticed, Maura Healey showed up, Michelle Wu showed up, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll showed up. Is that 10 years ago, the only people that would show up would be Charles Yancey and Charles Yancey.
And to me, it just showed the power of Black Boston. Yeah. So we have that power. And we need to really use it to our advantage, because there are a lot of things that we can do that we need to get done. And we haven't been united on those things, though. So, again, back to the question, what do we do next? I think we got to take advantage of Black Boston. We got to understand the power that we have, and put it to work so that we can get what we need to continue to move forward. and things.
And I think a missed opportunity was around education around what's about to go happen around Franklin Park and White Stadium. I think that was a missed opportunity for us to do more education around that. Because the word is, I mean, you know, there are several people that love to go down to Franklin Park, you know, hang out with your friends and all that. But there was a statement, I didn't see it in my hands and so forth, but people were being told they can't sit in the park or hang out in the park or near the Franklin Park golf course and all these other things. Now, if you say that in Melrose, you say that in Cambridge, those people will have a whole damn riot if you tell them they can't sit in the park. So why is that okay in Boston? They're saying you can't sit in the park.
Well, I think that it's a different. I think there's a difference if you're talking about Melrose and you're talking about Boston. And my thinking is here in Boston, there's a larger agenda, and there are things that are changing right in front of us that we don't see. So there are certain things that are being done in order to complement these changes that are happening. So if you think about it, when we were kids, people did golf at Franklin Park, but not that often, right? When the Kite Festival came, the Kite Festival happened right on the golf course.
I know.
And then,
I could have. Yes.
Then what happened is people came in, they poured money into the golf course, and they said no more Kite Festival on the golf course because it ruins the course. And then things changed and they moved it from the front to the back. Mm-hmm. And you haven't seen any large events like that on the golf course since. So as time goes on, things are changing, mm-hmm. right? So now, we're faced with, what's happening at White Stadium. Things are changing. Here we are now with this whole thing with the fellas sitting in the park and that being a problem, right? Yeah. Because things are changing.
They don't want the loitering anymore. That's what they call
it,
loitering.
Right. So while hanging in that parking lot or in that vicinity is something that has happened for decades. Things are changing. And so, as things change, you either stand up and fight against the change, or you lay down and you go with it.
No, you're right. You hit it on point. And again, the power of Black Boston, which was at Juneteenth, that right there. That's what you need. That's what you got to fight with. So, I don't know. People celebrated Juneteenth. We all enjoyed it. We had fun. But now, what are we going to fight against? And are the people that were there for Juneteenth, are we all going to fight together?
Yeah.
We have the power.
So, when it comes to the hanging in the park, like my question would be, what's the argument?
Yeah.
Right. What is the argument that's being presented? Also, who's doing the arguing? Because if you're having someone represent the masses, that person needs to be able to articulate without swearing, without getting mad, without telling somebody they're going to crack them upside their head. That person needs to be able to articulate the argument and be able to walk it through so that folks will understand exactly what it is that they're talking about. Because as soon as you get somebody in there that starts yelling and screaming and cussing, it's over. The fight's over at that point. Because now you're the violent person.
Yeah. It's a basic rule. Everyone in there's some basic rules that we have here. And in America, in Boston, everyone's entitled to a free education. And also there's some basic rules. Everyone is, the first park in the nation was here at Boston Common and Boston Park up there. The park was made for everyone to enjoy it. There shouldn't be, that's the basic rules of why the parks were enjoyed. It's not to say if you have a golf club, you can come, but if you have a beer party, you can't come. I mean, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, you know what I mean? So that's the argument of why people have public parks, for everyone to enjoy it.
Wow.
Period. That's it. Everybody.
Well, the thing with Franklin Park
is available for everybody. You know what I mean? In Massachusetts, thank God we have. This is other parts of the country don't have this, like in Georgia and Texas. But if you get really sick in Massachusetts, guess what? You can go to the hospital and get services through Mass Health and Romney Care and all those wonderful things that Romney did. That as a governor, that hit the whole national thing. You guys remember that movie John Q?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
You know what? As a younger person watching that movie, I didn't understand it because I was living in Massachusetts, and I realized that when you go to the hospital, people serve you and you're able to get it done. I didn't understand that John Q is reality in other parts of the country. You guys understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, John, the story about John Q is real, and it's not. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's real, even here in Massachusetts. So the inequities that don't allow for us to be able to pay for health care are real. I remember I have sleep apnea, and they gave me a specific medication to keep me awake. Then they told me because I don't have the quote unquote right insurance, that I have to get a lower dosage. And I'm like, that doesn't work though. It doesn't work, right? So now I got to fight with the insurance company because they're telling me I don't need the higher dosage. My doctor is saying I need the higher dosage to stay awake. And it was just a lot of back and forth. I had to go get testing and all this. I mean, it was just ridiculous because Big Pharma didn't want to pay. So it happens. Listen, it's happening right now while we speak. Right now, BMC,
listen,
Beth Israel, Brigham and Women's, it's happening everywhere.
That's a whole nother topic that, if I can, have another hour to talk about this and get some other people on the show, we would definitely do it. I just think in the end, it's all about money. It ain't about us getting better, because you can go to other countries. Why is it that other countries, the healthcare is free? Why in other countries, they don't have the same issues we have here. Diabetes, high blood pressure, sleep apnea, whatever it is. It's just totally different, and I've thought about it, right? And I mean it when I say this. If I get sick to the point, where I really need some good health care, I'm going outside the country, and I'll pay for it.
Well, athletes do it all the time.
I'm going outside the country.
Whoa, athletes do it right on, brother.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Kobe Bryant went somewhere years ago and got an injection in his knee. He was back in like 6 months from the torn meniscus or whatever he had in his knee, ACL. Yeah, they go out of the country all the time and get different treatments instead of what they're saying here in America. But also they have the finances to do that too,
right.
Yeah.
Most regular citizens don't have that much of a chance. But yeah, the medical industry is very tricky. I had a surgery on my shoulder, but I had to go through 6 weeks of physical therapy before my insurance company approved me, and I paid them $6,000 a year for health insurance. And that's just part of what I paid. The MBTA pays the rest,
right?
The other 75%. But they made me 6 weeks of therapy before they even gave me an MRI. So that lets you know it's all about part of the profit margin.
Right. And although you got to go outside the country, it's still much cheaper.
Yes.
Cost wise, still much cheaper. So I made up my mind. I said, man, any kind of major illness, y'all ain't gonna see me for a minute because I'm gonna go get medicated outside the country.
Well, Steve, you know the word is capitalism. That's what we live in. This is capitalism.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
Wow.
Marv and Rich and everybody, did we talk about the carjacking?
Oh, yes. Oh,
yeah.
man.
Condolences for that family.
No, we didn't talk about it. Well, we can talk about it now. Let's talk about
condolences, man, for that young lady, man. When I saw the video, you know, it was sad, man. It was sad to see that, you know, that this gentleman just crashed his car, grab a lady out of another car at the car wash, jumped in another car, you know. It was just sad.
Everybody, for everyone, some people still don't know about it. I talked to 2 people yesterday, like, what carjacking? So just explain it.
So there was a car accident. I don't know the corner of that street, but it's right at the
Woodhaven and Blue Hill.
Woodhaven and Blue Hill. So for those that don't know, that car wash right across from Simcoe's,
Fernandez Brothers.
Yep, there was a car accident right there. The guy that was involved in the car accident jumped out of his car, ran over to the car wash, pulled a woman out of her car that was parked at the car wash, got in, took off in her car, drove up the wrong side of the street, then drove on the right side and went down to Mattapan Square. It's too much traffic. So he then chose to drive on the sidewalk. And that's where he encountered the young woman that he ran over.
Ran
her over and then dragged her body down the street until he hit a bus. And then when that happened, all the people came around and, you know, were beating on the car, and they pulled him out the car and they beat him up.
Now, I haven't followed it since. His obviously some mental illness or something is going on there.
Yeah,
brothers claiming.
Oh, he pleaded not guilty. He claimed
and his brother's claiming he has mental health issues and stuff like that, PTSD. Yeah. You know, it's just sad. It's just a sad situation. I saw the video. I still felt the guys at the car wash could have intervened quicker. They kind of just yelled.
I'm on you with that.
I'm on that.
I think.
I mean,
you're right.
Not trying to be a superhero, but I go to that car wash all the time, and I'm sorry, I'm not letting that happen in front of me like that. You dragging a female out of a car.
Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you.
I was trying to see the female. I didn't even see the female's face, and like he grabbed her so fast.
Yeah. So my thinking is, you know, when the guy ran over to try to stop him, my thinking is what could have happened. Hindsight is 20/20, right?
Yes.
What could have happened is instead of him reaching through the window, he could have opened the door and reached inside the car and, you know, turned the car off or whatever. I mean, it's easy for me to say it because I wasn't there.
Yep.
I wasn't a part of the action, but that's the thought that goes through my mind. Open the door and get in the car, you know, hit the button to stop the car, or at that point, you know, try to pull him out or whatever. But that's not what happened. So,
and no one reacted quick enough. You know.
Oh no, there were people that reacted quick.
Yeah.
These people with the phones.
Oh yeah,
they reacted real fast. Well, they got it all.
Well, that's the thing. And that's the thing that pissed me off. Everybody reacted. You're right about that, Mom. Everybody grabbed their phone. You know, as men standing around, you see a guy attacking a female, going to her car. Those guys did not react quick enough for me. But like you said, with the phones, they did.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't know the fool was going to drive up the street, kill a lady. Timing is so much in life, man.
Yeah.
She just got off the bus, was going to the bank. Just think about it, right? If she was 5 seconds delayed on that bus, if that bus driver, and I drove the T, if that bus driver had missed 1 or 2 red lights coming up Blue Hill Ave,
it would have been worse.
That lady's life is saved.
Well, no, you're saying worse. Nah, because if the bus had gotten there later,
Yes,
he would have missed.
he would have missed her, Steve.
Well, that's
Now-
what I'm saying. It would have been worse.
If
right?
that bus
okay, I see what you're saying.
if that bus missed one red light, he's delayed. That's like I'll make this quick. Remember when the lady got killed in the tunnel years ago?
Yeah.
When-
When the panel fell.
When the panel fell on top of her husband was taking her to the airport. She was from one of the South American countries. Lived in JP or Mission Hill. Just think, once again, the butterfly effect. If she gets delayed at a red light, if she leaves out the house 2 minutes later,
Right.
See how timing's everything in life, man.
Yeah.
And it's crazy when you mention that, right? That panel conveniently fell on top of the car
Yes.
and killed her.
Yes.
Right. So she had to be in exactly that spot at that time. If she had been delayed even 15 seconds,
15 seconds.
15
Miles.
seconds,
Yes.
the panel, it doesn't happen. It doesn't kill her.
Some
It doesn't
horrible
happen.
Final Destination.
Yeah.
This is some horrible Final
Yeah.
Yeah,
Destination.
that movie.
I was about to say that.
I think about that movie. Yes.
Yeah. And that's true. You make a good point, Rich, because I'm just sitting here like, wow.
Yes.
When you saw, because I remember seeing the pictures of that panel on top of the car.
Exactly.
It had to be perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
And it Final Destination.
Final Destination,
Yeah.
man. Hey, listen, man.
At that time, I'm not sure if you guys knew, but Mayor Menino was scheduled to leave out of town like 2 hours after that.
You know,
He was going through the same tunnel.
yes. And all I'm
Wow.
going to say is, guys, we all sitting here. Believe it or not, God has saved our lives many times, and we don't even realize it.
I already know. I already know. And I know the few times that I've been, you know what I mean? I could tell you that, but you know, and then I'm sure there's countless other number of times I don't know about.
So
we all don't
So
know.
when you're sometimes thinking you're falling behind and you're like, oh, I'm late, it's a reason for that sometimes.
Yeah.
You know,
My
it's
daughter-
funny because I was in the car and I was talking to a friend and I had missed my turn. I was like, oh, dang, you know, and then I turned around and I missed the turn again.
Yeah.
And, you know, she was like, oh, no, don't. You weren't supposed to take that turn for a reason.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's
Right.
right.
And I never thought it, and I never looked at it that way.
Yeah.
But I missed the turn twice.
Right.
You know, just having a conversation.
Yeah. So what's today? Monday?
Tuesday.
So yeah, it was yesterday. So my kids took me to Foxwoods for the night for Father's Day.
Mm-hmm.
So I go down, spend the night, have a great time, just relaxing in the hotel, and I'm on my way home. So my daughter puts in the group text, go to the Dollar Tree. They have things that, you know, you're going to be surprised at the things that you see. So I'm like, okay. So I put in my GPS to go to the Dollar Tree, and the Dollar Tree is going to take me 15 minutes out of my way. But I go. And the whole while I'm driving, I'm saying to myself, I probably wasn't supposed to go on the highway at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the reason why. Because normally I would have been like, I'm not going to Dollar Tree. I'm going home. But I was I easily complied and went. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist on this, but I'm like, I'm supposed to go to the Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
And I went. And I don't know what would have happened if I didn't go, but I did go. And normally I would not have gone. So when I think about stuff like that too. And you know, that panel falling on that lady, Final Destination. Yeah. Right place, right time.
Yeah. And then I mean,
her family got compensated like $15 million. They sued everybody. Every contractor that worked on the Big Dig, they was sued. You know, you're putting a 300-pound panel up in the sky being held by epoxy or whatever it was.
Yeah,
it didn't make any sense.
Yeah, that was crazy how they.
And you know what? Every time I go through,
crazy,
every time I went through those tunnels for years, I thought about that.
Yeah,
you know, I'm like, we got these 300-pound panels hanging above us in the tunnel.
Yeah,
you know,
my question is off the rip. Why do the panels need to be that heavy? That's the first question I asked.
I used to ask myself
why do those panels need to be that heavy? The second question is all the money that was made during the Big Dig. why isn't everything pristine?
Yes.
Why is it, you know, when, remember, and I don't know if y'all were going through that tunnel when they first built that tunnel. Every night they would drive through there with a water truck and wash the walls.
Yes, exactly.
And then they stopped.
Yep, exactly.
So I'm like,
yeah, what was that about?
They I mean, look,
that was somebody's contract.
The money's running out.
The money was running out. And let's look at the history of the Big Dig. We are old enough to remember how many no-show jobs was on the Big Dig.
Yeah.
How many remember those minority contractors got to get a bite of the apple? Those minority contractors turned out to be the guys that already owned construction company. Their wives started a company in their name. They were the minorities. Yeah. It was so much exposed. Right. I mean, that was the biggest corruption in history. What was it was supposed to be like 10 billion turned into like 100 billion or whatever?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting in Atlanta when they built the airport of Atlanta in the 70s. And also MARTA, is that Maynard Jackson's credited for making sure the contracts, you can Google this and look this up, that he made so many black millionaires in Atlanta by making sure that those contracts had a certain amount of black people and people of color vendors on those things.
But that didn't happen in Massachusetts. That didn't happen in Massachusetts.
It did not happen in Massachusetts.
No, it did not.
Yeah.
It was the same people. The money kept going in circles. And I might be wrong, but I believe the Big Dig cost more than the English Channel when they connected England and France.
Oh my Lord!
You might be right about that. I know the Big Dig, they gave one ticket price, and then it ended up being like 4 or 5 times that.
And
price.
we're still paying for it too in taxes.
Crazy.
Massachusetts. Well, fellas, Chip, thanks again, man. It's a pleasure always having you on the show, man. Got to get you back. We'll talk about that later. Marv, thanks for coming through, man.
Yeah.
And your input, man. Thanks again. And that's gonna do it for our. No, go ahead, Chip.
I just want to give you on numbers. The Big Dig is one of the largest cost overruns in U.S. history. Initially, in 1985, it was supposed to be 2.6 billion. It went up to 2.8, and the final cost of it reached 14.6. billion.
Okay, so I was right when I said 15 billion. I knew it was around 15 billion. Yeah.
Yeah, they had documentaries on that, man. So yeah. All right. So we got
Did you have somebody else on hold?
Oh, someone's on. No, that's Chip. That's on hold.
No, okay.
Yeah, that's Chip. That's on the phone now.
Yeah, my old man.
Yeah.
Hey, it was good seeing you, Chip.
Yeah.
Always, man. Always.
Yes, sir.
So on Thursday, yeah, thanks again, man. So on Thursday, we got Linda Champion. She's going to be in the studio live talking to, what's the young lady's name again, Marv? Doing the interview?
Danisha,
that's right.
Danisha's our 19-year-old intern.
Yeah, we got a 19-year-old intern. She's going to be talking to Linda Champion, who is running for district attorney here in Massachusetts. So we'll have that going on for you. So thanks again, folks. R&B Talk. Tap time is next. Enjoy the R&B vibes from now. Thank you.
Open up your heart, let me give you a little more. I cannot return the favor. What are you even asking for? But you know the word is so close. Baby, let's go inside the yard. I know, baby, you can tell me right away. I know, take me everywhere you wanna go. I know, you look the side of my balls. I know that I've been working. You and I searching, there's another guy. I know